Hey, what's up, everybody? Greetings, Algo artists. Excuse me. Greetings, Algo artisans. All right, it's Friday. It is 8:33 a.m. Got a little bit late of a start. Apologies for that. You know how it is. Sometimes getting out of the gate's a little bit funky, and we do have some data that came out overnight here. As a matter of fact, I think it just came out. So let's go ahead and jump right into the charts, actually. Remember, if you want to know what we do, how to find us, zap the QR code top right hand side of the screen, or just go to algofactory.tech. We help people become traders. We help people build their own trading methods. Called an algo. Don't let the term scare you. It just means we teach you how to do your own thing when you're trading. And that's usually in my opinion, that's what's going to be making you successful, is your own trading plan. And we'll talk a little bit about the psychology of that today. But before we even talk about any of that, I'm going to share the screen. We're going to look at the charts. So let me get out the buttons. Button. Who's got the button? Okay, this is a 1 minute chart. So let's back out. Let's take a look at the daily. Let's see what's going on in a way that we can all understand. Okay, so price came back up from our 63,000 line yesterday. So if you look at the chart, I had marked out during some of our other shows, I think it was the live show that morning, yesterday morning. So this show 24 hours ago, 3 spots where price might want to rally up, or where it had rallied up in the past, and then one more spot where it might want to rally up again. And there was liquidity up a little bit higher. This yellow box right there, that's where price tends to want to go. So price did actually dig pretty deep here. Price went down after yesterday's data, down to 62,300 or so, and then it rallied up nicely all the way up to 65,600, and that was like right at the slowest time of the day. It all happened within about 45 minutes, right around like say 6 p.m. EST. So right, not terribly long after the market closed. And actually, you know what? We can look at the, I think it was closer to 4 p.m. EST, actually. The point is that price didn't quite make it up to that liquidity. Now, if that liquidity is still there, there's a decent chance price can make it up there. The only other liquidity we saw at that time was down at this 55,600 area. So let me go ahead and make this screen just a little bit easier to see. And then I'm going to take a brief look at the you know what, before we look at algos, let's look at the liquidity. So we're going to take a look at the liquidations. I'm going to delete these yellow items because these yellow items, these boxes right here, they tend to change over hours, let alone days. So let me go ahead and delete these so we can kind of start fresh, and we can take a look at where price might go today. Right, where price might be driven towards today. And that's going to be done over at the Kingfisher.io. Now, the Kingfisher.io is a great website. I have a referral link in the description. Whether or not you choose to use that link, it will take you to the site and you can grab the data that I'm looking at right now. So these are liquidations. These are where some of the leveraged trades might liquidate. And so price tends to be pushed towards these areas. In order for that to work, price has to want to go towards these areas in the first place. What do I mean by that? What I mean is that if price is to go up towards these liquidations where these green lines are, that means price has to be bullish in the first place, right? It's not like necessarily that the quote unquote market makers or whoever are able to just push price around at will. Generally, they kind of have to ride whatever wave is coming, and then they might be able to nudge it towards these numbers. And there's a strong amount of liquidity right around 67,500. That's our strong block. So 67,500. Let me find our correct chart here. And I'm going to put a block right there. Or I'll just use a yellow line. So it's right about here. Now, that's a pretty lofty target considering what's been going on with price, right? Price rallied up beautifully going back to early July. I'm going to draw a trend line to show this. rallied it beautifully, eventually made its way up just a few days ago on July 28th to 70,000, right? Now 72,000 is the top of this major consolidation, this high time frame, big giant rectangle going back to March. And so since March, price has been rotating between 60,000, basically 61,000 and 72,000. And it's been pretty reliable. The bottom has seen a couple of deviations, and each time it deviates, it does spring back up though. And so far, it's made its way back up to 72,000, except for this time. This time, it got rejected at about 70,000. What that might mean is that it just simply hasn't made it to 72 yet, right? If you're going to look at it from a range play perspective. So that being the case, let me see if I can extend this a little bit, just in case price does want to make its way up there. And now that we have this yellow line right there, which we know price might be pushed towards that line, that's a place where price might go. Let's see if price is in fact actually bullish, if it even wants to go in that direction. And I'm going to take a brief look at the algos. Not terribly bullish, but not impossible on the daily. This is actually the 18-hour chart. Let me take a look at the weekly. Weekly is still relatively bullish. It's not the most bullish chart I've ever seen, but technically it's bullish. The 3-hour chart is, everything is like weekly bullish or just flipping bullish. So technically price could start to make its way up there. Right now, I would just venture to guess price is going to go kind of sideways. It looks like it got caught down at 63,000, really 62,300, around about that area. It looks like it grabbed liquidity down there, and it seemed to rally back up, which means that there's a decent chance it's not going to go any deeper than that. We don't know yet. There's a lot of time yet left. But what I mean to say is not time left, but just looking at the charts, it seems that price might not be quite ready to rally past 72,000, and it could head down. It could do a lot of things. Right now, the volatility is pretty low. So sideways movement is really kind of the order of the day right now. I would expect sideways, maybe even sideways to down. Let me just take a brief look at, again, the algos real quick. Yeah, I'm expecting sideways to down. So if I were to like do my most likely forecast, I would say we're looking at, there's a block of liquidity from some old trades, and that block goes all the way back to here, basically. And it's really this group of trades back there. And I think price might dive down to that area. It already has touched it, certainly, but I think it's going to head back down there. It could. Now, if the bulls step in, of course, price could rally up. I know I said yesterday that the bulls would have to step in a big way to keep price from going down to 60,000, and surely they did. Like I said, this big blue candle right here, let's look at it on a lower time frame. It was actually quite exciting to watch that happen. That was a very big move, all very quickly. It was this move right here. This big, nice big move right here. The bulls really did step in like I was saying they needed to. And who's to stop the bulls from doing it again? And they stepped in right at that liquidity that I just drew a few minutes ago. This area at the bottom from that old price action way, way back here, right? So they may step in again. For the moment, though, unless and until they do, I expect price to just go sideways and maybe even build a new range, maybe in this area, or perhaps head down. Let's get our new path here. Perhaps even head down into this area and re-range to grab some liquidity on the way up. And at this point, time will tell. I don't really have much beyond that. It's Friday. It's the middle of August. It's the slowest time of the year. That means one of two things. It means that there's not a lot of action, or it might mean that people with a lot of money come in to manipulate price during a low volume moment. Because when there's not a lot of volume, then you get liquidity traps, and price can be pushed around in a very violent way. So it's either not much is going to happen and it's just going to range, or it's going to be price really makes a big, strong move unexpectedly in a direction. So, at this time, I would be looking at maybe some swing trades, if anything, or even day trades. And again, it's the weekend. It's going to get pretty slow, and day trading Bitcoin is pretty tricky. You got to know your stuff. There's a lot of pullbacks to liquidity, and there's a lot of tricks going on when you try to day trade Bitcoin. It's real tricky. So, but that's a pretty comprehensive look at Bitcoin, and we are at the end of the Free to the Public Live Lab. So we got a pretty deep look at Bitcoin and what's going on. I know most people are going to want to see that. But if you were to come on here and ask, say, hey, I want to see the SP 500, or, you might be watching this live and you're like a stock trader. You want to see what's going to happen to NVIDIA or, anything like that. Let me know. I can chart any of those things. I just tend to default to Bitcoin because that's what most of my fan base wants to see, right? So that being the case, thank you all for joining. If you're in the private live lab, go ahead and hop over to Telegram. We're going to fire that up right this moment. And, we'll get moving in that direction. Thank you all for watching. AlgoFactory.tech. Come learn how to build your own trading system. And should you want to build something you can automate, we can help you get on the path to that as well. So that's actually kind of the holy grail. A lot of people want to automate their trading system. I'm also going to let you know that may be not as easy as you think. Actually, oh shoot, I might need to end the stream. Hold on a second. There we go. Sorry, folks. Sorry to ruin my flow. But yeah, automating your whole system sometimes is not as pretty as you might think it is. However, it can be done. So if you want to learn more about that, learn more about how it's done, learn more about the tricks and the pitfalls and things like that, we do have some experience doing that as well. All right, good. Sorry for rambling. Was trying to get something set up. Go ahead, have our funny moment here.
Join us or die.